to be snow.
What?
Hey everybody, welcome to Too Much CGI, the show where we talk about all kinds of pop culture, geekery, both retro and today. If you were a kid in the 80s or the 90s, you are in our club. My name is Bill, here as always with Scott. How are you doing, buddy?
Things are good, man. Things are good. Just a little soggy over here.
Yeah, we're soaking wet in PA.
Pennsylvania's getting like 2 inches of rain every hour. It's insane, but at least it's not snow, as they say. It's just an old man thing to say. At least you have to shovel it.
Yeah. Well, the other old man thing to say is great weather for ducks. I've heard that about 3 times today.
Yuck. But we'll talk more about snow later. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I just took my team. I don't talk much about what I do, but I have a marketing agency, and I took my team out to an escape room.
An escape room?
We're finally doing our like Christmas party and doing the gifts and doing all those things.
Oh, cool.
So took me to an escape room. Have you ever done one of those?
I have, yes.
Are you good at them?
I struggle with them. Not because I'm not good. I'm really good at puzzles. So to your example here, most often these are done as team building exercises. Well, I'm the fucking guy that wants to just like solve it. But at the same time, internally, I have this struggle where it's like, oh, don't be that fucking guy. Don't be the know-it-all. Then I see people like, oh, like maybe it's a math problem. I'm like, of course it's a fucking math problem, you idiot. Like, so like in my head, I'm like fighting with myself to just like lay back. They're gonna get there. We still have time left. Like you can come in at the end, but then I don't want to also be like, oh man, Scott, he's a fucking dummy. He doesn't know anything. Like it's a delicate line to walk, man.
That's great because I'm the idiot. I'm the one who can't get any of this right. And the rest of my team is so smart. I'm just like, this makes no sense. So you walk, this time it was a classroom. You walk into an elementary school classroom, and as they shut the door on you, they're like, all right, start looking for clues. I'm like, anything here could be a clue. Like, can you give me a clue as to what kind of clue I'm looking for? But somehow my team figures out how to get this thing started. I still like don't know how we got out of the room. It took us 40 minutes to get out of a room that was, set for 60 minutes. But we did it, and my team is so good at it. And I just, I run the company. I'm supposed to be, the one they all look up to. Nope. We do these escape rooms, and I'm just so stupid. It is not the kind of puzzle I'm good at.
No, that's okay. I mean, to be a good leader, you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You just have to surround yourself with the smartest people in the room, and that's what a good leader does.
That's what a good business person does.
Well, there you go.
That was exactly the phrase that I used to say all the time when I was putting this company together. Get people smarter than me. I want to be rich. I know I can't do it on my own, so I need people who can get rich to get me rich. We're still working on that goal, Scott. Because we want to get rich off the podcast because we blew up.
It's been happening on YouTube here, man.
Did you know that people really are worked up about whether Chevy Chase is a good guy or not?
Well, there's 2 sides to this story, and some people are very much defending Chevy. Others are like, oh, yeah, I knew that guy was a shitbag. But there's the comments. The comments are the best, like the Michael Jackson meme eating the popcorn. I'm just here for the comments.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, we started doing the Useless Pop Knowledge series on YouTube. It was really just an idea to try to get some more traffic. It's put more bait in the water. So we started making these little quick videos. And last week we made one on Gremlins. It was just taken from our show and video was put on it. But I made one about Chevy Chase. I called it, Why Do People Dislike Chevy Chase?
Bend over and I'll show you.
We talked about it on the show. So I was like, well, I'll make a quick little video on it. Boy, I didn't know that was going to blow up.
Yeah. I mean, all you did was report what Donald Glover said in interviews. I mean, you did have cited works of people that have worked with him that had personal run-ins with him. I don't know if he ever gave his side of the story, but it was like, this is a one-sided smash job. And you even cite articles. And is this just slander? And people are like, no, he's a dickbag.
I like the one guy. This is libel. You have no evidence. I'm like, well, you didn't watch the video, did you? Because it's full of evidence.
Exactly. Calm down, Chevy.
You know what? Chevy Chase did respond to that. So when, and didn't you think, what was his name? You thought he was Danny Glover's kid?
That was a fuck-uppery. Yeah, I was going to hold it to the fuck-uppery. I thought that Donald Glover and Danny Glover were related. I probably even said it on the show before. Like, I was convinced that they were related, and I just found out at work the other day that not true. And I texted you, and I was like, do you know that they're not related? And you're like, yeah, no shit. And I was like, why didn't you correct me?
I think I thought you knew. I remember you saying it a couple of times. I was like, oh, that's a good gag because everybody thinks it's Danny Glover's kid.
No, not a gag. I really thought that this was his son.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Ah, well.
But he did talk about it. So, he gave that, we were talking about Donald Glover, gave that thing. I don't even remember what magazine he gave it to, but
I think it was Variety.
Variety. Yeah. Well, he commented. He's like, Chevy Chase on the set of Community. He's, an old guy. He's trying to fight for his place in all this. And I did read Chevy's reply. So Chevy's like, I didn't know he had all those feelings about me. I think he's a great talent. Like, he played it very professionally. But come on. Yes, you knew he had those problems with you. There's episodes in this final season with Chevy Chase where he's not even in the room. They CGI'd him in the one scene. And the only way that I could tell is I saw Chevy's hand was cut off in one quick scene where they all sit at the table together. So,
right.
Yeah, no, he knew. He knew he was upsetting the cast. Did you hear about when he was invited to Howard Stern's wedding?
No.
And he gave a toast. And remember, he used to have a big feud with Howard Stern. But Howard Stern ended up inviting Chevy Chase to the wedding. And nobody has a copy of this. But Chevy when he went to give his toast, he just skewered Stern. And it was racial. Like, he was just dark. And everyone's like, wow, what the hell is going on here? But nobody recorded it.
At his wedding.
Yeah. So I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Does he think he gets a free pass and he can do racial jokes and everyone else can't? Does he think that it's okay? He never really did racial jokes before. Why now is he a racial comp? Nothing makes sense with this guy.
Did Howard talk about this? Is that how the story came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just something I've known from years of listening to Howard.
This was his wedding to Beth, like his second wedding?
Yeah.
Well, man, we did blow up, like you said. All we had to do was do something controversial, and that'll get you clicks. And here we are.
Everyone at home, if you have any other bullshit that we can go and push out there that's controversial, doesn't need to be true. We're playing the game everybody else is playing, the clickbait game. I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're on YouTube and the internet. That's how things work, right? Less controversial and still getting clicks. Crispin Glover. I didn't know he was a weirdo, but here we are. Watch that one too.
Yeah. You ever see the David Letterman interview where he goes and he kicks David Letterman a high kick?
Yeah.
That was crazy. See, all right. So I've heard that David Letterman knew when Joaquin Phoenix came in. Remember he came in that one time and he was dressed up as another person. And so that was a setup. So Letterman has admitted, yeah, I knew all about that. I knew it was going to happen. So did he know about Crispin Glover? Because when Crispin Glover did that kick and it was an inch from David Letterman's head, David Letterman looked really pissed. He's like, well, okay, I'm out of here, and walked off. I don't think that was fake.
I don't know. Letterman had some classic stuff. Didn't he do stuff with Kaufman as well, where he knew he was in on the joke, but he acted like he wasn't?
Yeah, I think you're right there, too. So, probably. This is probably set up.
Who knows?
It's weird. It's weird to think that. So, I'm still listening to The Stern Show, but I found another podcast called Quite Frankly, because Stern always says that. He goes, quite frankly, I don't want to, so they thought it was funny to name the show Quite Frankly. And they're just ripping the show apart. And they're like, this is fake. This is fake. And they're convinced that, like, whenever Stern would do an interview, like the Bruce Springsteen interview, all these calls would be like, you're the greatest interviewer in the world. Well, they're convinced these are all fake callers.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, they take the calls from way back. They're like, if you listen to this voice, this is the same as this voice. And that's, one of the interns. And I was like, damn, I guess maybe that could be true.
Well, I shared before. I never thought he was that strong of an interviewer because he always had to talk about himself.
Yeah, he sure does. They say on that show that he's got NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. And as they were defining what that was and all the traits, it's like, yeah, this guy's got it. No question. It's interesting. It's interesting in hindsight, but like, I was such a fan growing up, and now these guys are helping me realize that he was just a toxic, terrible, fraudulent person from the get-go. And what I thought was some kind of hero of, censorship, and just a total character. Howard Stern is like Alice Cooper. The real guy is not like the guy on the radio. Simple as that.
Well, I'm the real guy. I'm the same guy you get in person.
I'm a little fake. Here's something I'd like to talk about. So I was going through editing, laughing at myself, going, "You idiot! You threw a fit about how you're so mad at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for all these political things that you." And then you're like, "I can't come up with one reason why I hate him." So I kind of jumped off the handle and felt stupid. So I decided to go and look up why there is so much dissent with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Would you like to hear the list?
I would. I'm sure I'm familiar with some of these, but lay it on me.
So I got about 9 here. I'm only going to read a few. The others are stretches. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has been criticized for including artists who don't strictly fall into the genre of rock and roll. Some argue that this dilutes the focus and purpose of the hall, while others see it as a necessary evolution reflecting the changing landscape of music. So this is what we were talking about last time.
Yeah, I think it's fine to expand. I think there's a little bit of rock and roll and hip hop. I think there's a little bit of hip hop and rock and roll. I feel like it's an ever blending, melding thing. And like, what are you just going to have? Because like now you have, like, I think of like the fucking blackboard in School of Rock with Jack Black, where he's like, well, over here you have glam rock. And then over here you have, pop rock. Then you have the British invasion. And over here you have country rock. And over here you have like outlaw country rock. And like, there's so many subgenres. Like, okay, who's gatekeeping the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Like, it's a music Hall of Fame is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think all those things do tie back into rock and roll.
I think it's a very valid point. I think they all count.
I think rock and roll is a spirit, not a genre of music.
It is. It's a very youth, angry, frenetic. Let me get a dictionary out, get some more big words. But it's meant to be like just, I don't know, this is sexist to say, but it seemed that way growing up. It's boys having fun and being bad behavior. And certainly there's women rockers too. They're being bad too. So it's that spirit. Yeah, as long as we're still doing that, I guess it's rock and roll. There's plenty of R&B that has that same spirit. Yeah.
Pushing the envelope of fashion, of sound, of lyrics, of sexual exploitation, just going off the fuck, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what they always said, right?
Yeah. And I loved it. I love sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I hate the commercialization of it all. So I think, reasons like that were why I was into Howard Stern and people like that, because I thought they were breaking the norms. All right, but here's the second one. This is reason number 2. This one's more interesting. The process by which artists are nominated and inducted has been called into question. Critics argue that it lacks transparency and is influenced more by industry politics and personal relationships than merit.
I believe that.
Yeah, me too. When you look at some of the people that went in, it's like, you had a friend. You had a friend on the inside, Kate Bush. There's just no way.
Yeah, the fact that we're only getting to Willie Nelson now, who did he piss off?
Oh, God, I'm still fucking crazy over that. There are claims of bias in the selection process, with some genres, eras, or artists being underrepresented. For instance, women, artists of color, and certain subgenres of rock have historically been underrepresented.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But I feel like this year, with the 50th anniversary of hip hop, I think that they really doubled down on it and really embraced it. They have their whole wing of the Hall of Fame this year. And I guess moving forward, I hope it's not just a 1-year thing.
I've been there in Cleveland. I think it's cool. It's a cool place to visit for sure.
We're going this summer. I'm planning a road trip out towards Michigan, around the Great Lakes. We're going to stop at Cleveland. I'm going to check it out.
Some view the Hall of Fame as overly commercialized, prioritizing popular or commercially successful artists over those who may have had significant influence on the genre, but achieved less commercial success.
Sure. I think that's music in a nutshell, right? The people that get famous. The ones that sometimes write the songs or do the studio sessions or make the music, you may never even know their fucking name.
And then there's Willie Nelson, who wrote the songs and
did
also
everything,
sang some of those
still
songs.
Only fucking getting inducted at 90 years old. I still get pissed off by that.
Well, is he rock and roll?
I think so. I mean, he's probably more rock and roll than anybody else.
I totally agree. I said this once to some people. I was like, Madonna is like one of the greatest rock stars. They're like, you're nuts. What do you mean rock star? I'm like, do you remember she put out a sex book? Like, it doesn't get more rock and roll than what Madonna did that year. That's crazy.
Sure. I mean, she was pop, but pop's a version of rock. It's popular rock, right?
Well, with a 4/4 beat, you can tap your foot to it.
That's right.
Let me give you one more here. Some argue that fans should have more say in the induction process, as the current system is seen as being controlled by a small group of industry insiders. That makes sense.
Yeah, but then you get the internet voting on shit, and you get boats named Bodie McBoatface, and people fuck shit up. The more hands in this kitchen, the more fucked up it's going to be.
So you like the electoral college type of way. You let certain people have more power than all the people. All right.
Here's the thing. That I'm not for the electoral college for very much this exact same reason. You give people the illusion that they can vote for who they're going to get in, but when it comes down to it, when everybody votes for fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks ain't making the fucking hall. It's just somebody trying to troll you, Like they're going to put up the gate. They're not going to let the wrong people in. It's the illusion of choice that bothers me.
Oh, you're not wrong. If I could vote, I'd put like Wesley Willis in. You remember that guy? Rock'n'Roll McDonald's. I'd put like a Baby Shark song in. That's
what I'm saying, man. Like people fuck things up. The more people involved, the more convoluted it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
And I really don't have a problem with the people that are in there or that are getting in there. It's just like when I look at the people that are just getting in there now versus the people that are already in there, and I'm like, what the fuck was going on here, But other Hall of Fames have the same problem. I mean, the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame has the same problem. And they do have rules where it has to be like so many years after the player played his last game. Well, you can't do that in music. People record, Willie Nelson's recording in his 90s, like I said. Like, you can't do it unless, well, you can do it, posthumously after they die. Like, what's the gatekeeping going to be there?
Well, that's what they're doing now with, lots of people. Like the Soul Train Award. Not the Soul Train Award. What the fuck am I saying? The guy from Soul Train who won the award. He's dead.
Don Cornelius.
Yeah. So they'll do it.
Yeah, I guess. But like, rock and rollers die young, man. It's still not going to fix any problems in the long term. But Keith Richards is still going.
Somehow. I like that if we did have the right to vote, and I'm telling you that I would totally fuck it up. Like, I probably would nominate Kate Bush. And this year she won anyway.
Yeah, but you would vote for her ironically.
I'm just teasing. I've never gone to like an election booth to put in Mickey Mouse or anything like that. But
yeah, that's fucked up.
Well, I got a few more things on the agenda here. I got a quick game of the week. I'm really into making these games lately.
Oh, hot damn.
I got a fuck-uppery.
Okay.
And I know you've brought a few things to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I shared a fuck-uppery already, thinking Danny Glover and Donald Glover were related. Let's hear your fuck-uppery.
All right. I heard this in editing. We were talking about Daryl Hall and John Oates. Do you remember what we said?
They had a PFA against each other?
Yeah.
And you thought that?
Yeah. It's not a PFA. It's not protection from abuse. Daryl's not beating up Hall. Hall's not beating up Daryl. It's not an actual, like, physical thing.
Oh, I know that.
But that's a PFA.
It was an injunction. I know, but that's what this was, I believe.
It's a restraining order.
Restraining order.
There's subtle enough differences that it's kind of funny that we said PFA and didn't even flinch. One is abusing the other.
I feel like they're often used interchangeably, at least in the world I live, sometimes used interchangeably. Not that I have any against me. I'm not saying anything like that, but I work with people that have some of these things, and one leads to the other, I suppose. So that's why I didn't bat an eye when you said that.
I wonder if people took that, like, one's the abusive spouse and the Jonathan Majors thing. Yeah.
Oh.
He's still trying to say he's innocent, but yeah, he's out. He is done. He was found guilty. It's over. It's over, Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah, he fucked up.
Yeah, he's still like, man, I'm innocent. I don't know.
Yeah, but like, didn't 4 more people come forward and with corroborating evidence that supported what the accuser said?
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard it was a pretty easy case.
Yeah.
Well, here's some more celebrity. I love the drama. I love
You do.
Did you hear about Ian Ziering? You know who that is?
The guy from 90210?
Yeah.
And, well, Sharknado, right?
Right.
Okay.
So he got into a big fight in L.A. So, I mean, the video's online. So he ended up calling the cops, and he was complaining about these bikers, these crazy bikers that were harassing. They were going up and down Sunset or something like that. And, he was like, so he calls the cops, and he's like, you got to come and arrest these guys. Well, the video comes out of what really happened. And it's these bikers, and I don't know how many people are having the same issue, like Philadelphia, where we live.
ATVs and dirt bikes.
ATVs, 50 dirt bikes, all of a sudden come tearing through the city. They're assholes. They know the cops won't catch them. It's annoying. It's loud. It sucks. So it looked like something kind of like that was happening. So they were all bikers on these little tiny moped type bikes. I don't even know what they were, but they weren't like big Harley Davidson guys. There were these little moped, like clown bikes.
I'm picturing like pagans like rolling through like fucking Pee-wee's Big Adventure and like they're like rolling thunder and shit. These are guys who are like on little mini bikes.
Think about that on mopeds. Yeah. So what happens is you can see from the video, one tries to like kind of, and they're dickheads. They're just like, I'm just going to push my bike through this space here between two cars on the road.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you know it? Ian Ziering is the driver of that car. The fucker hops out of the car and he pushes the biker on his moped over. Well, now all the other bikers are all up in arms. Now, you know, there's a little kid in the car. Ian Ziering's daughter was in the car. She's now crying. Everybody. So the cops are now saying, we were going to go after the guy who got into Ian Ziering's face and all this. He goes, but now we have the video. Ian Ziering started the fucking problem.
He instigated the whole fucking thing. Unbelievable.
I almost hit him once in a parking lot.
On a mini bike?
Yeah, no. Just a regular car.
I didn't think we were going to wind up here.
We're all over. This is what you all love about the show. All these non sequiturs. We never know where we're going to end up.
This is why we have an agenda that we completely ignore.
I love when I get to listen back to hear what you cut. Like there's so much stuff on the cutting room floor that our fans will never get to hear. Maybe we'll create like a Patreon tier or something. You can hear all the
holy shit. I love when we're like, yeah, it's going to be a short show. We don't have much to talk about. Nothing on the agenda. Nothing really going on. It's 4 hours later.
I know. This is probably like 25 minutes in the actual recording if somebody's listening to it. I'm looking at our timer. It's been 8 hours we've been talking. Want to play a surprise game?
Yeah, let's do some surprise game now.
So I was thinking about this earlier. I was thinking about TV shows that got turned into movies. Remember how that got real big for a while?
Yeah.
Especially in the 90s.
Sure.
So I decided to look up a webpage. 25 TV shows that were turned into movies. But the game is, Scott, can you name 10?
All right. Let me try. I'll start easy. The Simpsons. The A-Team.
Good call on A-Team. It's not even on this list. Wow.
Did they have to be popular movies or could they have been like direct-to-TV movies?
Everything on here is, from what I could tell, it's been in a theater.
Anything animated?
There is one or two animated, one being The Simpsons.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. Think older. Think shit our parents watched.
Well, MASH was a movie that became a TV show. That went the other way around, so I can't count that.
Right.
Dude, I don't know. I'm striking out here. So I guess the answer is no. I can't name 10.
I'm going to start naming these, and you're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Brady Bunch, 21 Jump Street, The Addams Family.
Okay.
Charlie's Angels.
Gilligan's Island became a movie. Return to Gilligan's Island. That may have been right to TV,
Yeah, that's a TV
though.
movie, yeah. That counts. The Equalizer. That's a Denzel Washington movie that people like those Equalizer movies. I Spy.
I Spy. Oh, yeah, with Maxwell Smart.
They have Jackass the movie.
Oh, wait, that was Get
Miami
Smart,
Vice.
not I Spy. I was thinking Get Smart. Get Smart was a Nick at Night that became with Steve Carell.
Yeah, and actually, I don't even see that one on the list. You're totally right.
Mr. Bean, he became a movie.
Yeah. I said Miami Vice. Mission Impossible. The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad.
Yeah, can we count that, though? I mean, I feel like I watched some shit on YouTube about the Naked Gun and Police Squad and how it's basically like ripped completely off of another show, almost scene for scene. But I know that it was the same writers, but there was never a TV show called The Naked Gun.
But this movie was The Naked Gun, from the Files of Police Squad.
Oh, that was the official name? I don't think I ever knew that.
That's what they're trying to say here, yeah.
Okay.
You'll allow it?
I'll let it pass.
Here's the other animated one, South Park.
Oh, how could I forget South Park?
Ah! God damn it!
Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Did I say Beverly Hillbillies?
No, I actually forgot that was a movie. Dukes of Hazzard. You say Dukes of Hazzard?
I didn't say Dukes of Hazzard.
I just said it.
X-Files.
Yeah.
There's a few on here I don't know, like State of Play. Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. You know who Tim and Eric is?
I know Tim and Eric. They're pretty funny. They were Adult Swim stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work with Eric. I used to sit next to him.
I knew you had like your relation with them in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. We're both in the photo business for a while. God bless the guy. He's gone on to make it in Hollywood. He's doing stuff. He's got, the things he's on and the things that he's behind the scenes of. And he started making him and Tim, I don't know Tim, I've never met Tim, but him and Tim, Eric and Tim, were making these crazy little YouTube videos before there was a social network.
Tim and Eric's awesome show, right?
I think that's what came from these little YouTube videos. There was one I remember of watching him jump around Philadelphia, but they filmed it in a way and cut out any time he was actually feet on the ground. So It just looked like this floating guy buzzing around Philadelphia. And I was like, why are you wasting your time doing this shit, Eric? Well, now I know. He got into Hollywood over that stuff.
He showed you.
Yeah, early YouTuber. It's really what he is.
You said Dukes of Hazzard? Or did I just come up with that?
No, we mentioned that.
Okay.
Trying to see if there's anything else. The Many Saints of Newark? I don't know that.
No.
The Fugitive? I didn't know that was a TV show.
Me neither.
And then it says El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. I tried to watch that. I love Breaking Bad, but I could not give a damn about that El Camino.
I've never seen a single episode.
When I tell you that you're missing out, you're missing out. Yeah. Breaking Bad is one of them shows that you just...
I know.
Yeah, you just never saw it.
I've
never
heard
got
this
into it, huh?
Of all the channels out there, of all the networks that are out there, anything that was ever on AMC was completely off my radar. I never watched The Walking Dead. I never watched Breaking Bad. I never watched Mad Men when it was on. I tried to go back and watch Mad Men on DVD back in the day. I couldn't get through it. Like AMC was just a miss for me. I don't know why. The other one, Sons of Anarchy, never saw it.
Wow. They're all good shows. You're missing out.
Yeah. I have no reason, and everybody tells me this. I have no reason to doubt them. I just never had the time. It was just never there was always something prioritized above it.
Yeah, I get that. Well, you read the summary of Breaking Bad and you're like, well, this sounds like everything else. Why would I be into this? But it's just one of them shows that as soon as you meet the characters and they get in a little bit of trouble, and then the next day it's even more trouble and it just gets crazier and crazier. If you had a stressful day at work, don't watch this show. Like you would have more anxiety than you started with.
I think part of the problem is how much my work kind of relates to the subject matter of Breaking Bad. So it's not enjoyable for me. It's too much like, I don't want to bring the office home, I'm not cooking meth, by the way.
Well, you've talked about what you do for a living.
Oh, I have. Okay. All right. Yeah. But I love Bryan Cranston too. So
there's a new show, speaking of what you do for a living in the addiction space and helping people. It's called Louder Milk.
I've heard of this.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I just found it yesterday. All of a sudden it started trending on my Netflix. And I'm like, Louder Milk. Okay, it's got, what's his name? Not Ron Swanson. What's his name? It's from Office Space, Livingston. Ron Livingston?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's the main guy, and he plays like he's basically a 90s, he's right out of Singles, like that movie Singles, or right out of Almost Famous. He was a writer in the 90s. He ended up with a drinking problem, and he was like a music critic in the 90s, ended up with a drinking problem, and now he's trying to put his life together. He's kind of an angel, but he's also kind of a snarky asshole. So it's pretty funny. And it's the first show I've ever seen try to build a comedy around addiction. I don't know. That was new for me. It's not a funny subject, but they figured out a way to be funny and still be thoughtful and heartfelt. Yeah. Now, I'm only on the first 5 episodes, but yeah, I recommend that.
Yeah, it's always nice to see somebody take something like recovery and, like you said, not a funny field, not a funny subject matter, but, not belittle it, not demean it, not, use it as a punchline, but actually build it into the storytelling. That's interesting. I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, as I kind of hinted at the top of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about snow today. Right after last week's episode, you'd mentioned that, how can you not believe in global warming? I haven't seen snow in 20 years. Well, they were calling for a mighty snowstorm to sweep through southeastern Pennsylvania, well, actually eastern Pennsylvania. and we were supposed to be getting 5 to 10 inches. Bill, how much snow do you get?
I can still see my grass.
Yeah, I was going to say we got like 2 to 3 inches here. I have some friends and coworkers that live a little bit north of us. They got maybe as much as 5 inches. But now today, as we said earlier, with us being soggy and wet, it's all been washed away by rain. Like, it doesn't happen a lot. So we treated Saturday when it snowed as like a true snow day. Like, we didn't leave the house. We could have left the house. We didn't leave the house. We had a fire in the fireplace. I actually edited the last show. We just acted like we were snowed in. You know, it was fun. It was nice. Saturday came around and I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. First of all, I'm an old man. My back is killing me from having to shovel this snow. It was one of those snows where it wasn't enough snow to actually use a snowblower. And it was also really heavy because it did get like sludgy on top of it. But and I say all this knowing that many of our listeners, snow's not a problem for them. They don't live in areas where precipitation, aside from rain, is a problem for them. But Saturday, we got out of the house. We took a little bit of a road trip, just went shopping and did some things in a nearby town. But we're talking to the kids and realized my kids have never sledded in their life. Never gone sledding.
How's that possible?
It didn't snow the past 2 years. Before that, there was the whole COVID year. That kind of like nobody went outside during the COVID year. Before that, like they were like so young, there was just never enough snow to go sledding. So we were talking, and it really got me thinking about we did crazy shit when it snowed when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Like, of course, we're driving and it's getting warmer and all the snow's melting away. And my daughter's like, oh, I really want to go sledding. We were like, well, you're kind of too late. You probably should have done it yesterday. And that's what came up like, oh, we never sledded before. And I was like, you're out of your mind. And I was like, no, they're right. I don't even know if they've ever owned sleds. It's been that bad. And it's just been that mild in the winters here recently. But my wife was like, I don't even know where we would go sledding. Like, where did you go sledding when you were a kid? I was like, oh, well, we went to this giant hill and it actually like leveled off and it was actually 2 hills. But if you hit it at the right angle, you could go all the way from the top of the one hill and land up at the bottom of the second hill. And we were like crazy assholes. Like we were kind of like Jackass when we were kids. We would build a ramp or like a little lip at the leveling part. So you would go down the first hill, hit the lip, never even touch the second hill until you smacked bottom, like flat on your ass. Like I probably broke my tailbone. You always ended up like getting the wind knocked out of you. How I didn't break ribs or arms or anything else is, you know, I have to thank a higher power for that. But yeah, like all this crazy shit we did. So I just started thinking about like snow and like lack of snow and movies that involve snow and like just crazy activities and winter activities we got into back in the day. Some of the stuff we mentioned on here before, but the stuff we haven't done in so long. And not because we've gotten old and moved away from it, just because the fucking snow went away.
Yeah, we were real good as kids getting air from our sleds.
Oh.
We really never thought about the landing part.
No. Yeah, I was like, well, I used to go sledding at this one hill and then I got stuck under a car. And they're like, you got stuck under a car? And I was like, yeah. Well, it was like a parking lot. It was a parked car. I was like, but like my jacket got stuck on an engine manifold. I had to take my jacket off. And like, how old were you? I was like 6. Like, their kids are like, what? Like, who are you?
Man, I did a lot of sledding.
Sledding was the big one. How about any other winter type activities you got into? Were you ever an ice skater or a skier or anything like that?
I was a regular Nancy Kerrigan on skates. You should have seen me. No, ice skates I never did. Skiing I did. I was good at skiing. Somehow I picked that up real fast. And in Pennsylvania, you know, we got our snow, but you didn't get snow when you had time off to go skiing. So you'd go to the Poconos and there'd be enough snow on there to usually get by, or they'd have snowmakers.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, there was an inch of fake snow or real snow and sheets of ice underneath. So we would just call them ice mountains and we just ski the ice mountains. So I've fallen down so many times, but I think by learning how to ski on ice mountains, by the time I did get good snow, I was killing it.
Really?
I was doing double diamonds. I would black diamonds. I was like super good at moguls. Yeah, it really clicked with me easy. Now I can't do it because I have plantar fasciitis, which is a thing on my pain in my foot that like becomes like a burning nerve pain if I'm in any kind of roller skate or ski boot.
Wow.
So I had to give it up. Yeah, it sucks.
I've only ever went ice skating once in my life. It came easy to me because I did a lot of rollerblading and played roller hockey and stuff like that. I've never skied. I went on a ski trip one time with the church that my parents had me go to. It was like a youth group thing. And we went, and the first girl went down the hill and snapped her ankle in 2 pieces, and we sat at the hospital the rest of the trip. So that was the only skiing experience I've ever had. I got sized up for skis and never pizzaed, never French fried, never anything.
No snow plow. You didn't even get that far.
No snow plowing. No.
So you didn't have to embarrass yourself with the ski lift because everybody falls off at their first time.
No, never had. Never even had the opportunity. How about snow forts? We were really big with snow forts up in this area.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we used to get crazy snow. You used to be able to just walk outside and start digging,
We're just
horizontally.
tunneling. Yeah, just tunneling.
Yeah, tunneling. Yeah. Yeah. And you'd have a snow fort.
Yeah, man. Like, it seems like it was a lifetime ago, but it feels so foreign because we have nothing like it anymore. I remember we were in a snow fort one time and we got a little overzealous. We started digging out windows, and of course we had the entryway, and then we had a thing on the top where we could poke our heads out and throw snowballs. Because of course, snow forts, the entire purpose of a snow fort is to have a base for a snowball fight. So, one kid's on half of the block are fighting the kids on the other half of the block. Well, the goddamn snow fort collapsed on us. We had a kid stuck inside. Said he couldn't breathe.
God.
We pulled him out. It wasn't a big deal. Nobody went to the hospital. It was the 80s.
Yeah. Kid who eats too many marbles doesn't grow up to have kids of his own.
Natural selection here.
That's a great George Carlin joke. That's how it used to be. I remember in just after high school, I was dating a girl, and she had a hunting cabin in the middle of Pennsylvania. It was, what was it, Center County or something like that? I mean, when I tell you we were in the middle of friggin' nowhere when we would go to this thing, we were in the fucking friggin' middle of nowhere. There was a small town that we would go to, and if I tell you there was 20 people in it, that was probably more than there were. Like, we were really in the middle of friggin' nowhere. So this cabin had electricity, but it didn't have a phone, and didn't have heat. Had like a furnace. We would just cut wood and burn it and be warm. Well,
So it had like a wood fire stove?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're up there one weekend, just me and her. Dumb kids. You don't check the weather report. Dude, I think it was like 8 feet of snow.
Holy shit.
And we opened the door and it was
Just a wall of
looked in
snow.
the windows. Yeah. And we had to tunnel out of the house. So we were off the street by probably 200 yards. So I had to dig for a week, 200 yards worth of trail to be able to push a shitty little rear wheel drive Mazda pickup truck far enough onto the street so that somebody could see that we were there. And then maybe they would plow that street because we're in the back area. And that's what you need to do for all the people who have the big trucks you can drive through. They're looking for reasons to plow. And if they see your truck, they'll be like, okay, we'll plow this guy out. I was so tired. And now a week has gone by. We can't contact our parents. So out of the blue, one morning, knock, 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 knock on the door. And we open the door and it's a rescue crew. It is snowmobiles. There is a dog with a fucking barrel under his neck. I'm not even kidding. I don't know what was in it.
Bourbon?
But they were like, are you okay? I don't know. Are you okay? Do you need food? Do you need anything? I'm like, yeah, we're fine. We totally can survive out here. We had enough baked beans to last forever. Wow. We had to get rescued. Yeah.
Holy
so what had
shit.
happened is her father had realized, because, he owned the place. He knew to check the weather report, and he casually looked and went, whoa, they got a freak storm up there. I better get help sent. If he didn't, we'd be a week till we were able to get out of there.
Holy shit, man.
Who knows how long? Second time I went to that cabin, I remember, and this isn't a snow story, I remember waking up and hearing voices. And I was like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, I heard a couple rifle shots, like as clear as day. I'm like, we're under attack! Ah! We're getting the...
Thought it was Red Dawn.
I thought it was Red Dawn. And my girlfriend at the time, she was smarter than me. She goes, don't worry, relax, we're just poachers.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, well, I'm not relaxed because if they want to come into this house, they think we're not here. Like, what's stopping them from wanting to come in and, warm their feet by the furnace?
You got a real pretty mouth.
Man, I realized this is not my world. I don't want to be out in the. I've never been out in the woods since.
Holy shit. You kind of live out in the woods, Bill.
Oh, barely.
I know.
I barely. There's still a highway nearby. As long as there's a highway nearby, I feel safe. And if your kids ever want to come sledding, if we ever get snow, I got a really good sledding hill with a bump at the end that's going to make them fly right out of there.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, bringing it back to snow. How about some movies with snow? Anything that comes to your mind? I have 5.
Oh, right away. The sled scene from Christmas Vacation. That's the best.
Oh, that's a good one. See, I wasn't thinking Christmas movies. That's a good one. That's one. And now to set a land speed record, Clark W. Griswold.
I used to have one of those disc sleds, and they really move. I don't know why they're so fast, but they really can fly.
See, it didn't have a non-nutritional cereal varnish on the bottom.
No.
I had a disc like that, but it was like plastic, and it got all scraped up from like the ice and stuff, and it just lost. It created more friction than I think it should have, so it only worked like 2 times maybe.
The best sleds out there. I don't know what's look. I don't know what's out there now, but the best sleds out there when we were kids were those wooden ones with the red
radio
metal,
flyers.
That's what they were.
So good,
and you could steer them just a little bit in the front.
Yeah,
those things were fast as hell. They didn't look cool.
I was telling my kids about them. My mom still has mine. We got it at Sears. I think it was a Sears brand. Weighed a fucking ton to carry back up to the top of the hill. It was almost like a sleigh. Like the metal tracks on those things, you could go for days.
Yeah, for fucking sure. They were so fast. Oh man, and just to think, like, I would come in with my toes so frozen.
They hurt.
They hurt. I was frostbitten.
And
I was like, but I'm not done. I got more daylight. I don't have to come home yet.
That's right.
Yeah, I'd sled for just hours.
See, my favorite sleds growing up were like the inflatable ones because, like, no matter how soft the snow was, you just glided on top of it. And also, when you're launching yourself about 8 foot in the air, you come down, at least gave you some cushion to land on.
If you land on it. I've never tried it. Well, yeah, I have. The inner tubes.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the inner tubes?
Yeah. You're talking about tubing at an actual, like, ski resort?
Maybe. What are you talking about? What's the inflatable?
So we had very similar inner tubes like you would use in the pool, but they were for the snow. They were made for the snow.
Inner tubes.
Inner tubes.
You would use for the pool.
Well, they looked very much like inner tubes you would use for the pool, like big donut ring type things.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's the same thing they would do.
Yeah, at a resort.
At a resort, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty fun too.
My brother went down once. He launched himself off the ramp and popped that fucking sled. Never saw it coming. Well, the first movie I thought of here, The Thing, 1982 John Carpenter classic, following a research team in Antarctica that's being hunted by a shape-shifting alien. That was a damn good movie, but snow definitely played a factor in it.
Everybody was cold the whole movie. Like, by the end of that movie, you're freezing, even if you're sitting in front of a fireplace watching it. Yeah, that looked like hell to film.
Oh, could you imagine? And it wasn't done on location. Nobody filmed in Antarctica, right? They probably filmed in like Minnesota. Really?
But I think they filmed at least Alaska because some of that was a frozen tundra.
Yeah.
And there was so much frozen tundra that I don't think that was a soundstage. I'd have to rewatch it, actually. I don't know. Yeah, I totally believe that they were filming in at least Alaska.
Snow definitely played a factor in that one. The other one, speaking of being frozen solid, 1980 Stanley Kubrick, The Shining.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They got snowed in. I totally forgot about that.
The whole reason they were at the Overlook was because of they were the winter caretakers for the hotel. And the whole way that ended was, of course, Jack Torrance got lost in the hedge maze and froze to death in the snowstorm.
That's right, because I remember Scatman Crothers couldn't get to the
that's right.
Couldn't get to the mansion, so he had to take a snowmobile.
Snowcat. Or whatever the hell it was.
Snowcat.
Yep.
That's right. I forgot they were snowed in.
Yeah.
That is a snow movie. When they were running around the maze at the end, that was snowy too, wasn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. He froze to death in the maze.
Man, I forgot. I forgot the fucking Shining.
I mean, probably not the most memorable part of the movie. I think there was like so many other memorable scenes that stick with you in that movie that, the ending of it, like his frozen face, okay, sure. But like leading up to that, like the ending was kind of anticlimactic to the whole thing.
How about the actress in that? Did I tell you about the video I saw?
Shelley Duvall? I saw that video. You sent it over to me. Yeah.
Did we talk about it here? Am I repeating myself?
I don't think so.
There is a show that I like. It's called the Grimm Collective. And it's a couple, and they like to meet people from the 80s horror movies and all that stuff. Like they have an episode where they stayed in the Scream house, all these things. So they were able to score a interview with Shelley Duvall, who I'm pretty sure didn't know that she was being interviewed, because she pulls in her car, and her car, she's a hoarder. I mean, her car was filled to the brim, and it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. And I hope she's getting help. I hope she's okay, but it's out there on the internet. Everybody talks about it. Like, have you seen that Shelley Duvall interview? What happened?
Dude, I have to tell you, if I didn't read the title, I'd have had no idea that woman was Shelley Duvall.
She seems happy.
Yeah.
She was lovely, but yeah, she needs some help.
I think so.
Yeah. Where is that hoarder line? I don't know. I mean, I had a messy car growing up, but this is like, you couldn't see through windows.
Yeah.
From what I remember, it was pretty bad.
Yes, you are correct. Number 3 here, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. The entire opening scene with the Wampa and on Hoth. I mean, it was the whole ice planet. That was the whole opening to the movie.
That was a great idea.
Yeah. Some stories say that the whole scene for the Wampa and Luke getting smashed in the face was because just in between filming Star Wars and the sequel, Empire Strikes Back, Mark Hamill was in a motorcycle accident, I believe, correct?
Something, yeah.
It was either a car accident or a motorcycle accident, and he had to have some facial reconstructive surgery. So they figured, let him get whomped by a Wampa, and that'll explain everything away in canon. And that's, some people say it's bullshit. Some people say it was already written that way, but I think it makes a good story. It makes perfect storytelling sense to have it work out that way.
I've always heard that story. Thought it was true. I just assumed it was true.
Yeah. It's convenient.
I mean, he looked pretty messed up. That didn't look like special effects.
Yeah.
That looked like you wrapped your car around a telephone pole. There was a cut scene, because I thought Wampas were killer. Like I'm looking right up here at a Tauntaun and a Wampa from 1984 Kenner that I had as a kid, because I love the Hoth scene so much.
Yeah.
There's a cut scene from Empire Strikes Back where a stormtrooper opens a door inside the rebel base, and a Wampa grabs him and pulls it in. Evidently, the rebels were collecting Wampas.
No, it's funnier than that, actually. So the full cut scene, there's actually 2 cut scenes. One, as they were tunneling, much like our snow forts, the rebels, their Hoth base was a snow fort. They tunneled it out of the frozen tundra of Hoth. And in doing so, they disrupted Wampas, who were native to the land. And they would come in, and they actually were locking them. They weren't collecting them, but they were locking them in this room. And there was a yellow sticker on the door that says, like, do not open, danger, Wampa, whatever. So as the Empire crashes in and they take down the shield generator, and I guess Vader and some stormtroopers are walking through, C-3PO, while escaping, rips the warning sticker off the door. And then that's why they open it up, because they're like, oh, I hear something in there. And they open it up, and Wampa just grabs him in and just destroys him. So yeah, that was a cut scene. Definitely, it's still out there, I think, on like director's cuts, and I'm sure you can find it online. But a funny scene that I kind of wish they would have kept in, because it definitely showed that C-3PO wasn't useless.
It was too slapstick for me, because even Darth Vader standing there like, what the fuck? I could hear the voice in my head from like when Han Solo breaks in at the end of Star Wars, and Darth Vader goes, what? That is always in my head. I don't know what? What? Wampa grabs a stormtrooper. What?
I have 2 more. Next one I know you're not a fan of. The Day After Tomorrow from 2004.
Never saw it. Just don't want those destruction movies in my world.
From the writer of Independence Day, so you know it was good.
Unless Godzilla's in it, I'm out.
Same writer wrote Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Oh, we don't count that one.
I know. Well, Dennis Quaid is a paleoclimatologist. who has to reach his son, Jake Gyllenhaal, in New York City. So he has to traverse the country from Washington, D.C. to New York City while a global storm puts the planet back into a new ice age. So snow, everything. The thing I remember about this, there was like it was a Tomahawk helicopter or maybe a Black Hawk helicopter. I don't know the difference, but it was so cold that the fuel lines froze, so it smashed. They were like, "Oh, finally, he's here to save me," and then it smashed. And then the soldiers on the helicopter, it was so cold that he froze to death, became a human ice ball, basically.
That sounds like the absolute worst way to go. I mean, if I woke up and saw that, look, I'm not surviving to the end of the movie. I am taking myself. I'm not enduring any of this fucking cold bullshit. That is way too much stress on me. I'm done. I have my limits.
I mean, in thinking back in it, like, wouldn't you have fallen into hypothermia, which they say you just get really sleepy and you just fall asleep? Like, you're not screaming up to the point where you, like, freeze solid like a statue, right?
I don't even want to face a world that's that frozen. Like, at some point when the disaster finally ends, the frozen tundra is still going to be there. I don't want to restart the human race in Hoth.
Right. But as a kid, while you were out sledding, you would have still braved that frozen tundra.
Now I'm a grumpy old adult who hates snow and driving in it.
Well, last on my list, I have Die Hard 2. Remember Die Hard 2?
Barely. That one to me was just a copy of the first, so I never fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Was there even snow in it? Like, I so don't remember it. Oh, there was an airplane, wasn't it? An airport, a snowy airport?
Here's my notes. Military mercenaries take over an airport. It snows. A guy gets stabbed in the eye with an icicle. That's all I remember. But I do remember snow, so it made the list.
That was your last one?
That was my last one, yes.
I was thinking about this. I didn't do much better, but I came up with one that I don't think you saw because you never talked about it. And I know everything you've ever seen. Snowpiercer.
This is about a train?
Yes, and it's good. Dude, it's good. It's got Chris Evans in it.
Isn't it a series, though, or is it a movie?
I know there is a series called Snowpiercer. I don't know if it's based on the movie. I don't even know how they could make a show out of this movie.
I'm more familiar with the series than I am the movie. I didn't even know that there was a movie called Snowpiercer. So it was about a train that went across, like, the Arctic.
It's a post-apocalyptic world. It's like everything sucks out there. So you live on the train, you're lucky to be alive. But if you live at the back of the train, you're lower class. If you can work your way to the... So it's basically a story about classism.
And,
and collision. So it's basically watching... I don't want to give any more away. It's good. It's good. Go see it.
The haves versus the have-nots in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, and how they confront each other and why they do. And yeah, it's just an interesting look at reality from a different shit-covered glass.
When did this come out?
I don't know. I saw it a few years ago.
I'll check it out.
On a plane.
Would have been ironic if it was on a train.
Speaking of fucking shit on a plane, I watched one day coming back from vacation that movie with Anne Heche and Harrison Ford. It's like 6 days, 7 nights.
6 days, 7 nights? Okay, yeah.
We're in the worst damn storm I've ever been in a plane, and the turbulence is out of control, and then that scene comes on where they're about to crash. I mean, the whole plane was about to lose their fucking mind. Why would you ever decide that this is a movie you want to play on a plane? It's about a plane crash.
Yeah, there's certain films that should just be blacklisted from being shown on any kind of transportation. I watched Speed on a bus.
Talking about first world problems, I'm going to LA in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, what content am I going to take? Because I don't want to be the guy sitting there and a movie has like nudity on it. I don't want to be the guy that's like all of a sudden has to hide his thing because I don't want to offend the kid next to me. Like, I worry about stuff like that. So I'm looking at all the movies I want to see. I'm like, no, that's too gory. I don't want to get caught watching that. I don't know.
Wow.
I worry about stuff like that. I don't want to offend anybody. Do you think about that?
No, not at all.
Damn. Maybe I'm being too tight-assed.
That's all I have regarding my movies involving snow. Again, didn't go to the Christmas movies, although I do like that scene from Christmas Vacation. I certainly welcome the listeners. If there's anything glaring that I missed that you think is worth talking about, hit us up. and I'll certainly cover it and correct my error.
I just thought of a good one.
Oh,
I'll even tell you who's in it. Sylvester Stallone.
cliffhanger?
Yeah,
I thought about it. I did. It almost made the list.
I remember liking that.
I like John Lithgow as a bad guy.
I was friendly for a little bit with Gregory Cummins. He was the guy who was like the thug in that, and he plays Mac's dad in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yes.
He's
yes.
on that Boss show. Oh yeah, funny guy. But he's got one of them faces that like you saw all the time in the 80s.
Yeah.
One of those character actors. That must have been a good gig, being a character actor in the 80s. Non-stop work. Well, what do you say? You want to move on to the news?
Yeah, it's about that time.
Well, this is going to be a heck of a story here, so hold on to your hats. In a recent podcast interview, actor Adam Driver was asked, will he be returning to the Star Wars franchise? His answer?
No.
No. This next story is from the...
That's it, huh?
He said it was an exhausting experience. He said it was, harder than I expected it to be because I made all these small movies for so long. And, this was just a whole different world of filmmaking. I wasn't used to it. I stressed myself out. It's just too big, too much. I'm not going to go back and do that again. Even though Daisy Ridley is going back. She played Rey. She's going back and revisiting in a movie. So I guess that's why they asked him. She's going back. Are you going to go back? Well, I'm dead.
That doesn't stop anybody in the Star Wars franchise. However, I mean, he's gone on to do much more artful and big movies. I mean, he's doing this Ferrari movie now. He did the other one where he played an Italian guy. Was it the House of, I don't know, one of the designers, the House of Valencia or something? No, he's gone on to do some bigger movies. And I do like him as an actor. I think he's hilarious on Saturday Night Live.
He was good. I liked him in Star Wars. I don't know what people really thought of him, but when I think about the post Jedi Skywalker stuff, what do we call that? The Skywalker series? What are those three movies
Skywalker
called?
Saga,
yeah,
the
he's
trilogy.
The best thing in it.
I agree.
I liked him.
I agree.
Thought he was pretty good, but they changed his path because now he's admitting he's like, yeah, when I signed on, I was supposed to be kind of soft, getting worse and then worse. By the end, I was a full-fledged Darth Vader. And that was supposed to be the opposite of Darth Vader. Darth Vader was hard ass, got a little softer, and then, became good. So that was the original intent for Kylo Ren. And they just pulled the rug out from under him. And he's like, I don't know. I was kind of playing this character the whole time, knowing I was going to get more and more menacing.
And you can tell because they had the Knights of Ren there that were going to be like, at least 6 badass guys that were like thugs that were like his followers, and they introduced him one time, and then that was it. They never really, there was no payoff with those characters, or that you could tell they kind of deviated from the original plan.
Well, we'll never get that back unless they find a way to reboot it. I just don't want time travel and all that shit. And oh, too late. Don't they have that shit? I just remembered that with the Ahsoka stuff.
The world between worlds, yes.
I thought this story was interesting. Judd Apatow says it's insulting for Oscars to call Barbie an adapted screenplay. Do you know what the difference is between an adapted screenplay and an original screenplay?
Isn't an adapted screenplay something that would be like a Broadway musical that they then rework to get better camera shots and make it better formatted for a movie format?
Pretty much. You take any story and
or a book. It doesn't have to be a Broadway show. It could be a book, or any other medium is then translated via a rewrite into a screenplay or a script.
For some reason, it really is rubbing this guy the wrong way. The Academy decision means that if Oscar voters want to nominate the Barbie script, they can only consider it in the Best Adapted Screenplay category rather than the Best Original Screenplay. This categorization is likely due to the presence of pre-existing Barbie IP characters through the Writers Guild of America, though the Writers Guild of America has classified Barbie as an original screenplay.
I think there's bigger things to fight over. I mean, I feel that regardless of what category they put it in, Barbie's going to win. I mean, it made $1 billion.
But is that what the Academy is about? It's not about the one that made the most money. It's more of an artistic thing.
It's not, but historically looking back, like when has the highest, and this might be something we could do a story on, when has the highest grossing movie not won that category? Like Titanic was a huge movie. Titanic won all the fucking awards. Just think back. It's rare that they don't go hand in hand.
I mean, I always remember looking at who won because I don't watch those award shows. They're boring as all hell. Watch
Yeah.
all these famous people, congratulate themselves. But every time I'd hear about a movie that won, it would be like something that's so serious and dramatic. And those are movies I avoid like the plague because I don't need to be more upset about the world. So I just always assumed that it was really high, drama that usually wins those things.
I always thought that these movies were nominated and voted on by the Academy very much the same way that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame arbitrarily puts people into the Hall of Fame. I think it's all about glad handing and who you know and getting your movie in by the deadline so it can be qualified for this year's award season and all this and that. I will say the Golden Globes are a different story because it's the artists voting for other artists. And I was happy to see Paul Giamatti won Best Male Actor last night on the Golden Globe Awards.
Mm.
I like Paul Giamatti.
See, they should let me vote for that, just like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'd put in like Back to the Beach. I'd pick films from the 80s and try to get them nominated for best films of the year. I'm such a punk ass.
This is why we can't have nice things, Bill, because people like you.
I'm so naughty. All right, here's my last story. Ready Player One to be turned into massive metaverse experience in partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery. All right. You know what Ready Player One is. You've seen the movie.
I enjoyed it. It was a Steven Spielberg thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Written by a fella named Ernest Klein. I remember reading it. I liked it. Saw the movie. Didn't love the movie, but the book is better. But it's essentially what Zuckerberg was going to make with Meta.
Yeah.
He was going to make this, and he's kind of backing off this and moving now into AI. So this is interesting. Readyverse Studios, a new company co-founded by Ready Player One creator Ernest Klein, has partnered with Warner Brothers Discovery to develop a massive multiplayer online metaverse based on the Ready Player One franchise. Is it a franchise if there's only one?
I don't think so, no.
Set to launch in 2024, the Ready Player One metaverse aims to realize the interoperable open vision of the metaverse from Klein's novel, allowing users to immerse themselves in digital worlds across multiple platforms.
Has a lot of words.
So it's basically, we're going to make the movie into reality so you can play in this world too.
So you know what's funny? I know last week I talked about my kids getting like Pictionary versus AI for Christmas. One thing I didn't talk about, they both got Meta Quests for Christmas. So they both have the AI thing. They're both standing in my living room wailing their arms around like those blow-up dolls out in front of a fucking car dealership. It's funny to watch as an onlooker.
Have you tried it?
I put it on to set it up and like get the accounts and stuff going. And I'm a motion sick kind of guy, man. Like I don't think I can hang.
I know. I'm the same, dude. I want to use it for like working out, but I really feel like I'm getting motion sick. I don't like using it. I don't even know how people enjoy using it. I get yucky in there.
Plus, I wear glasses, and like I feel like I can't keep my glasses on, which doesn't help my motion sickness. So it's not made for me. I'm afraid I'm gonna get vertigo and just never stop spinning.
They being Meta, they're working on those smart glasses. Remember Google Glass came out and that was too ahead of its time. Well, now they're going to try it again. And this time Facebook has a deal with Ray-Ban. I want those. That's the kind of thing I like. You just see this little thing in the corner that says turn right when you hit 42nd Street. Yeah, I need stuff like that because I get lost completely in cities. So I'm looking forward to that, but that might be it. I can't get excited about it. If a brain chip comes out in our lifetime, from Elon, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
it's too far.
Give me glasses. I'm a Ray-Ban guy.
I can do glasses.
Yeah,
but I think that's it. I think that's as far. I don't think I'll do a self-driving car. I don't think I'll do jetpacks. I don't know what else is coming, but I'm not going to do it. Got to draw the line.
This is about as invasive as you get wearing a pair of glasses. All right.
I mean, I was just talking to one of my employees today before I left to do this, and she was talking. It's like, yeah, do you ever see that show? And she's talking about some show, and I didn't know what it was. She's like, but it's about like the world if there was no internet. And I'm like, but I know the world when there was no internet. I'd lived it. And she looked at me like, oh, wow.
Wow.
She never considered a world without the internet, and that anybody alive knows that.
How old is this individual?
Yeah, I think she's one of our younger ones that we're trying to train. But yeah, man, I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Wow.
I just don't have an answer for that. I don't know how to respond.
And she's not dumb. She's incredibly intelligent. Just didn't put two and two together. She thinks the internet's been around forever.
My kids asked me how old I was when I got my first cell phone, and I was like, I think I was 18. They were like, what? I was like, yeah, they didn't exist before that. They could not fathom the idea of a cell phone not existing. I was like, we had payphones. You put a quarter in.
Try explaining a beeper.
I never even understood beepers, and I was there.
Me neither. Making little code words with our friends, and then I'd forget the code words. Right away. 422 what? I forgot what that meant. I don't know.
Maybe we better wrap this show up. I have to go wrap my head around the idea that there's now a fictional show about a world without an internet.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. We need to take a long nap.
You know what? This is why there's too much CGI. He said it! He said it! People can't imagine there were movies with practical effects.
I like how you tied that right back to the beginning. Any last thoughts, Scott?
I got nothing. I'm sad now.
I told you this year I was only going to be positive. I was going to leave everybody feeling warm and fuzzy.
A fictional show about a world without an internet. It was more than half of my life.
Yeah.
My back hurts more now from shoveling snow. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. It's been real. We'll catch you next time.